we stay in the region. China's defense ministry has accused the Philippines Coast Guard of dangerous maneuvers following reports of a collision earlier this week between two Chinese vessels near the disputed Scarborough Shoal in the South China Sea. Spokesperson Jiang Bin said the action seriously endangered the safety of Chinese vessels and personnel. And they further warned that China reserves the right to take necessary countermeasures. Jiang did not confirm or deny the collision, but Philippine footage showed a Chinese Coast Guard ship trailing a PCG vessel before a Chinese Navy ship cut across another Chinese vessel, colliding with it and damaging its forecastle. It was the first known crash between Chinese vessels in the area. Manila has denied responsibility, calling it an unfortunate outcome not caused by their actions. The Philippines said its ships were delivering supplies to fishermen when the incident occurred. The clash is the latest in a series of confrontations amid heightened tensions, with China continuing to reject a 2016 International Tribunal ruling that invalidated its expansive claims in the South China Sea. Now for this discussion, we go back to Andrew K.P. Long. He's a China strategist, joins us live from London. Thank you, Andrew, for staying with us. Now, how do you interpret this China's response to the collision near Scarborough Shoal, especially regarding its accusation of dangerous maneuvers by Philippine Coast Guards?
Well, China would never compromise on its sovereignty in claims over these islands, which of course is based on historical records trading back to thousands of years of China's influence and control of some of these islands. And of course, this also ties in with the fact that the other China's neighbors have also claimed these islands or took action to occupy some of these islands during the past decades. Now, as far as the Philippines is concerned, you can see that there is a kind of a swinging of the pendulum for one side or another, from pro-China to anti-China, depending on the change of the administration in the Philippines. The current Philippine administration is anti-China with the young Marcos administration. But then before him, the Duterte administration is very pro-China. And then before Duterte, Aquino was again anti-China. So again, it depends on the biggest geopolitical player in the region, which of course the United States. Again, the policy towards China, of course, swinging from one end to the other. For example, during the previous administration, the first Bush administration, and then there was China was helped to gain entry into the World Trade Organization. There was a great period of cooperation, and now increasingly there was a pivot to Asia, and there was a more anti-China kind of stance, and that translates into Americans' allies. Of course, the Philippines have got a defense treaty with the United States, and hence that translates into a kind of jigsaw, a kind of a swing of the pendulum in the Philippines. Now, as far as these clashes are concerned, under the Marcos administration is taking a more proactive stance,
yes.
As the United States is trying to ally Philippines, South Korea,
yes.
Japan to contain China in that part of over the South China Sea, particularly in the light of possible upheaval over Taiwan, bearing in mind that the Philippines is very close to Taiwan and the south of Taiwan. And so it forms a kind of military partnership, if not an alliance, with South Korea and Japan, along with, for example, the AUKUS, Australia, United Kingdom, and America, nuclear submarine deal south of,
yes.
Of the South China Sea. And then, of course, further north is the so-called first island chain centered in Okinawa, and the second island chain further east center in Guam with a lot of American assets and with the deployment of American Sixth Fleet. So you
Yes.
can see that the whole area is a hotbed for possible conflicts. And the latest crash is, of course, that China would never concede in infringement of its sovereignty. And then, of course, accidents like this do happen.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Andrew, for joining us today and sharing your